NAMI Louisville is proud to support Jefferson County Public Schools by bringing you this year's suicide prevention training video. 800,000 people die by suicide each year. Suicide among children is rising in Kentucky. As parents, you should know the why of suicide and what you can do to protect your children. Mental health is at the root of suicide. What is mental health? Mental health is defined as a person's emotional, psychological, and/or social well-being. It significantly impacts how people handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. What is self-harm? Self-harm can include cutting, burning, hitting, scratching, pulling out hair, and poking holes in one's skin. Although self-harm can be dangerous, usually when people self-harm, they do not do so as a suicide attempt. Rather, they self-harm as a way to release painful emotions. Here are some important definitions surrounding suicide that every parent should know. Suicide is defined as death caused by self-directed injurious behavior with intent to die as a result of the behavior. A suicide attempt is a non-fatal, self-directed, potentially injurious behavior with intent to die as a result of the behavior. A suicide attempt might not result in injury. Suicidal ideation refers to the range of thinking about, considering, or planning suicide. Although many people will have thoughts without a plan to act on those thoughts, it is still vital to address. Crisis intervention refers to the methods used to offer immediate, short-term help to individuals who experience an event that produces emotional, mental, physical, and behavioral distress or problems. The following audio is a shared story of one young girl's life experience that led her to several suicide attempts.
Hello parents, I'm a current high schooler at JCPS sharing my path to attempted suicide. You might think that this could never happen to your child because they've always seemed okay, happy, social, active, and normal around you. Maybe you've always tried protecting and shielding them from the word suicide, so you think they could never possibly know, think of, or even consider it because you've never mentioned it to them growing up. You've done a good job protecting them, but sometimes even that isn't enough. When I was little, I certainly did not ever think that I would someday hit this low point in my life. I didn't even know what suicide even was at that point. What I'm trying to say is that none of us are born thinking that we would be trying or committing suicide in our lives. You might be thinking, what could children possibly be facing that is so extremely hard to handle at our young and experienced stage in life? Many of us haven't had to deal with taxes, financial burdens, marriage, divorce, getting a college degree, or finding a stable job. But that's not the point. There are things that are extremely hard to handle for us at our age. For me, it happened after my parents' divorce. My dad's reoccurring physical and emotional abuse prompted this divorce that I had personally witnessed in my home for many years. My mom was having a hard time, as this was her second time failing at a marriage with him, and immediately resorted to moving on and finding a new man. She had started online dating and was very invested in it. I was having a hard time processing all that had occurred, all my thoughts, my conflicted feelings at that point, and I felt utterly alone. My mom was too invested in moving on from her divorce. My brother was far away at college, and I could not talk or see my dad again. Our house was quiet all day, every day, and at school I had a super hard time telling my friends what had happened. I felt like they wouldn't understand because they had normal lives and perfect families who were not abusive. They wouldn't understand and would judge my family and I instead. So I could absolutely never tell them, and to this day, I still haven't told any of them. I did not want to burden them with my problems, and I knew my friends' parents are very protective of them, and I did not want to mess it all up and lose my friends because their parents did not want their children to associate with someone like me whose family was crazy and messed up. A bad influence, as we'd call it. I was scared to tell teachers anything because they would report it for sure, and I did not want that. I just wanted to move on and after everything was over and just readjust to a peaceful life with me and my mom. I still attended school, talked to friends, teachers, played sports, involved in extracurriculars, and laughed. But I knew I wasn't happy, and it was all a show to make it seem like I was okay. I didn't want people to suspect or know something was wrong with me. I lived a double life. I was very social and outgoing in front of people. In class, I was loud and smiled a lot. I was still my goofy, stupid self with my friends. No one could think there was anything wrong in my personal life. But once I got home, it was all quiet with my mom and I in our respective rooms passing time by ourselves. We did not talk a lot, and when we did, I was pretending again like I did in school. I would be crying for hours in my room all those days, and it was my secret. My mom worked night shifts. I would not see her during the day or at night. She didn't know, and I was too afraid to tell her because I was embarrassed that I was this sad for my dad, who she now hated. It was so quiet in my house, and I was alone with my thoughts every day. They would occupy all my time, and I was so unmotivated to do anything else like homework or attend my practices. It was hard to get up and go to school because I was tired all the time, and every day was becoming more and more unbearable and tiring to get through. I was tired of crying. It took up a lot of my energy, but I did it so much. I just wanted someone to talk to and share what I've been keeping to myself for 3 years, but no one seemed to fit the criteria. It was too dangerous to reveal anything, and I still loved my father despite all he did, so I did not want to put him at risk. I loved him and hated him at the same time, and my maternal family hated him and would verbally express their dislike to my mom and I every time we FaceTimed or called. I was extremely conflicted and felt like I had to choose sides. 3 days before trying to commit suicide for the first time, I remember still feeling normal, as in pretending and being happy with friends, but feeling sad, lonely, unmotivated, and crying so much each night when I was alone getting ready to sleep. I fought a lot with my mom as well. It was hard to readjust to living with just her in our new lives, while the pain was still very raw for the both of us. After another big fight with my mom, I was too tired. Of all the pretending, the secrecy, the crying alone, feeling lonely each day for so long, the thought that I could never share what happened with anyone and no one I knew could relate to me or even understand. There was emotional distance between my friends and family, and my thoughts became my only comfort. They were also suicidal, but they were all I had left. I decided that was it. I was sitting in the bathroom floor and just reached for the razor. I'm okay today, but those were the days, and I'm talking about it still feels weird to me. I want you parents to know to just show up. All of us teenagers will be going through different things and triggers in high school and life in general. We're just like you. Some might have had a bad breakup with friends or lovers, dealing with a lot of pressure, feeling lonely. We feel pain like you do, so please be here for us. We are very attentive. Any little sign of rejection or abandonment can be a trigger. We are also not stupid. We can be really good liars who can really make it seem like there's nothing wrong when in fact there is. So watch out for the signs carefully and keep in touch with our friends if you notice anything suspicious with us. Because we do let down our guards easier with friends and during the school day when we're tired and sad. Many of us actually don't want to die. We just want to end the pain. So help us end it by showing up in our lives and not giving up on us. Stick by us through and through. Even if we're hard to deal with and you don't understand what we're going through or don't know how to help because we just want to be alone, don't give up on us. Imagine the courage it takes to end your life. It's not easy. At that point, it means we've already given up on ourselves. So please don't give up on us too. Try to be involved in our lives and keep fighting to talk to us so we can let out the burdens little by little and feel that someone still cares. Stay positive, encouraging, optimistic, caring, and loving however we might be. Be all in our lives, whether that be sports, extracurriculars, friends, relationships, social media, and everything. Just show up. Thank you for listening.
Knowing more about suicide and the warning signs can help to save lives. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. Second leading cause of death among individuals aged 10 to 34. Children are not immune to mental illness, with half of all mental health disorders first showing signs before age 14. Less than 20% of children with diagnosable mental health problems receive the treatment they need. Often, there's a 10-year gap between symptom onset and proper diagnosis. Here are some warning signs that all parents and caregivers should be watching for. Talking about wanting to die, looking for ways to hurt or kill oneself, talking about feeling hopeless or having no reason to live, talking about being a burden to others, talking about feeling trapped or in unbearable pain, acting anxious or behaving recklessly, sleeping too much or too little, withdrawal or feeling isolated, showing rage or talking about seeking revenge, displaying extreme mood swings, increasing use of alcohol or drugs, beginning to give away prized possessions. NAMI has listed the following mental health indicators of suicide related to children: changes in school performance, excessive worry or anxiety, for instance fighting to avoid bed or school, hyperactive behavior, frequent nightmares, frequent disobedience or aggression, frequent temper tantrums. Here's Molly Jones, who started the Pete Foundation following the loss of her son, sharing her story of how her family was affected by suicide.
Hi, I'm Molly Jones, and I'm with the Pete Foundation, a nonprofit organization here in Louisville, looking to address the issue of adolescent mental health and raise awareness about the need for all of us to pay attention to the mental health of our children. So my story began actually with the loss of Pete, my son Pete, and it's almost 4 years ago. In December it'll be 4 years. So like all parents, I worry about the safety of my children. I always did from birth. Very first thing you're doing is you're putting them in a car seat to take them home from the hospital. From there, I made sure they wore a car seat or a seatbelt every time they got in the car. Pete was a twin, an identical twin. It was hard to tell him apart from his brother. And so that creates a safety issue. What if he's going to run out in the street? I have to be able to say, yell the right name, Pete, stop, Matt, stop. Well, if I yell the wrong name, they're not going to respond to it. So I color coded them. So Pete always wore blue and Matt wore red. That was for safety, so I could make sure that anyone's attention I needed to get, I could get it immediately. When we went into a parking lot, I was afraid I might lose a child because they'd run out in the parking lot and get hit by a car. I taught my kids to walk on the little lines in a parking lot. I felt like if they got away from me and if it was their nature to walk on those lines, they'd be the safest that they could be. So although it was cute to watch them walk in a single file on these lines, it kept them safe. As they got older, if we all went to an event or somewhere, not really old, but like 10, 11, 9, 8, those kind of ages, we would all wear an orange shirt. I had 5 children, and that way I could make sure I constantly had my eye on all 5 of them in a crowd. Because of course, I was afraid that one of them would get snatched away from me. I wouldn't buy a house with a swimming pool in the backyard because I was afraid of losing a child to drowning. As they got older, teenage years, I enforced the buddy system. They always went somewhere with somebody so that they weren't alone, and if they ran into a problem, they could have somebody help them. So their safety and their well-being was always on my mind. But what I never knew was that the greatest likelihood to lose a child in adolescence is by suicide. I never knew that. We shared dinner together every night as a family, and I never knew suicide and mental health was the greatest risk to any of my children. So I want parents to raise that issue on their radar when they think about the safety of their children. I don't have the answers, but we can all go look for the answers and solve this risk to our children.
It is important to use best practices when talking with a child who may be having suicidal thoughts. Here's some ways you can help. Listen non-judgmentally. Don't debate on whether suicide is right or wrong. Don't argue, threaten, or raise your voice, and don't punish suicidal behavior. If there is more than one person, speak one at a time. Exhibit calm, nonverbal behavior. Avoid pacing or fidgeting. Here are some safety precautions to keep in mind. Parents, don't let your teen's depression or anxiety snowball. Listen and look for nonverbal clues. Don't leave your child alone if you think they are suicidal. Lock up or remove guns, weapons, or medications. If you have reason for concern, seek additional help. Reach out to your school's counselor for additional tips or advice. Schedule an appointment with a professional. Take any threats seriously and call 800-273-TALK. Youth who experience the following are at higher risk for suicide: major loss, substance use, peer or social pressure, access to weapons, public humiliation, severe chronic pain, chronic medical condition, or impulsiveness and aggression, family history of suicide. Don't be afraid to ask questions to your loved one. Through knowledge and keeping communication lines open, you will be able to help. Don't be afraid to be straightforward and honest. Asking someone directly if they're having suicidal thoughts will not put the idea in their head, but will give them a space to be open. Questions to ask: are you having any thoughts about wanting to die? Do you have a plan to kill yourself? What would you use to kill yourself? And when do you plan to carry out this plan? Attempt to persuade them to let you assist in getting them help. Ask questions like, can I help you call the crisis line? If they have access to means, ask them to put those items away or assist in removing them. Get their guarantee that they will not enact on their thoughts until you can get them help. If persuasion doesn't work, call a mental health center or emergency services if necessary. If your loved one is hurting, it is important that you know local resources to which you can refer them. Some good local resources are 7 County Services, Peace Hospital of U of L, The Brook, Lincoln Trained Behavioral Health System, Wellstone, Acute Child Psychiatric Service. Go to NAMI Louisville's website, namilouisville.org, for a full list of hotlines and community resources. Through the most recent slides, you have already seen the basics of QPR training for suicide prevention. Question, persuade, refer. NAMI Louisville provides QPR training by demand. If interested in the next training, fill out the form on our website. Here is what Molly Jones from the Pete Foundation shares that she wished she would have said or done.
If I had it to do over again, and I just so wish I did have it to do over again, but what I would do is ask my children, each one individually, have you thought about suicide? If I ask them, it's not going to put the thought into their head, but it's going to let them know that they can talk to me about it.
What is NAMI Louisville? NAMI Louisville is an affiliate of NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. Our goal is to strengthen families and individuals affected by mental illness through education, support, and advocacy. Our resources available throughout the city include educational courses, support groups, community outreach presentations, stigma-free workplace initiative, the Youth Advisory Council, and Project Tech Drive. What is the Pete Foundation? The Pete Foundation's mission is to rally communities to champion youth mental health and wellness through normalizing the topic, promoting education, and providing tools for healthy emotional development. Their efforts include the Mental Health Flag, Pete Fest Music Festival, and the School Poster Competition. Thank you for viewing this life-saving video created by NAMI Louisville for the Jefferson County Public Schools. We hope you are now better equipped to handle a mental health concern in your family. Please reach out with any questions or concerns you may have. NAMI Louisville offers free support groups and educational classes that can support you in your mental health journey. Remember, 1 in 5 people need to seek mental health care each year. You're not alone, and NAMI Louisville is here to help.